And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at Sailing Towards Osiris. It's an easy game to see, right? Amidst this dark background, this is a very bright box. It's the Egyptian theme. Pharaoh is bringing his barge down, and you want to prepare and build some magnificent monuments and things that he can see as he comes down, because you want to get the most glory. Yes, that's the theme of a lot of games, actually, I think. But let's take a look. This one has some differences to it. Here's what they are. Here's the board of the game. Now you'll notice there's a boat here. And this boat is essentially, there's like lines here, it's going to be essentially opening up regions. So for the first round of the game, this is the region that's open, and in the second round, all these are open. In the third round and fourth round, everything is open. But see, the way the game is going to work is players are going to be building monuments as the game goes by. And when you build a monument, you're basically shutting that space down. So there's kind of like this ebb and flow. Now in this game, you're trying to get the most points. And players are going to be doing that by building monuments and taking different actions during each round. In each round, a bunch of workers here, or laborers, are going to be thrown into a bag. And each player is going to draw a certain amount. By the way, in this game, players are called governors. So let's say we're playing a 4-player game. I would draw 2 from here. So yay, here I got a farmer and I got a master stonecutter. That's the guy with white. So everyone would draw 2, and then the extra ones, in this case there would be 5 of them. There'd be 7 in the bag. 5 of them are going to get pulled and are going to be put over here in a pool. Then, starting with the start player, each person is going to go around and take actions. There are literally 10 different actions that you can take, so I'll try to go through these quickly. One of them is you can place one of these dudes on the board and take resources. You can only place them in a region of their color, so here I can go here and take 3 weed. I can't go here yet because the boat's not down that far. Once the boat gets here, I can go here. The master is lucky because they can go anywhere on the board. So you have to try to figure out who might be going somewhere else and try to get there before them to get these resources. You can also visit a city. Anybody can go to a city and you'll draw city cards. City cards are useful. There's another action to play the city cards. You can discard them for the resources in the top, or you can play them for whatever it says on the bottom. And there's a whole pile of city cards. You can join a caravan. Oh, by the way, cities are here. You can join a caravan. There's 2 caravans here. When you go to a caravan, you will also put your camel there to show that you're the caravan leader. You pick one of the groups of resources. If someone else goes to that caravan, they will also get one of those groups of resources, but they're going to have to pay you one of them because you're the leader. You can also trade at the market. Over here, you can just trade good. I might say, hey, I'm going to trade a stone for 2 wheat. Or maybe later on, I'll trade 2 wheat for 2 bricks. Whatever you do, you're going to leave the resources there because each of these can only be used once per round. You can also plan a monument. There's different monuments that you can build. And so you can build these monuments. They're going to cost resources, a stone, 4 brick, and 2 wheat. Or maybe 2 stones, 3 bricks, and a wheat. And I can plan a monument by putting that there. Later on my turn, I'm going to have to build the monument and put it on its proper spot on the map, which it shows down here. And then you're going to get glory points. So here's 2, 4, and 7. And as your shield shows you, if you're the first person to build all the monuments of a certain type, you're also going to get bonus points. At the end of the game, you also get bonus points if you have monuments on the same side or opposite sides of the river, things like that. This shows you all the stuff you start with, by the way. So there's still a couple more actions. You can play a city card. I already mentioned that. You can play a boon card. At the beginning of the game, each player is going to get some boon cards that match different gods, and you can play one of these on your turn and do what it says. So this says move 1 laborer from the map to the labor pool, then take another action. But if you play one of these, you leave it in front of you. You can only play 1 per round, so you're not going to be able to play all of them. And you can't play one that someone else has already played this round. You can also go here and buy a new laborer. They just cost 2 resources each, those extra ones that are left over. And finally, you can withdraw. you can leave for the season, and you pick one of these here and decide which one of these you're going to take. So I might want to take the brick and go first, or a point next turn. But one of those will get covered up. Whichever one the first person jumped on will get covered up in future rounds. That's pretty much it. I know that sounds like there's a lot, and I haven't gone over every single rule. Things will change. Pharaoh's barge is going to move. You'll get your tokens back, resources come back, etc., etc. The boon cards you played are removed from the game, and you'll start over again. At the Pharaoh's barge reaches the Temple of Osiris at the very end of the game, then you'll score points for, again, monuments that are next to each other, or for monuments that are built on the same side of the river. And then whoever has the most glory is the winner of the game. The components for the game are very nice. We have these pretty big shields. I like how they show you what you have, and that's an easy thing, and how you get extra points over the course of the game. The board itself is fantastic. It's easy to see. It's clear, bright, just looks really good on the table. Of course, this is daily magic, so I always expect their stuff to be well done. The art on the cards also, again, these are not difficult cards, not hard to figure out. We got the basic resources, which are pretty easy to separate and tell from each other. The boat looks great moving down the river. The only thing I would complain about, I guess, would be these master workers. It's not a huge thing. It just looks like I painted that white on myself with what do you call it, the whiteout or something. That would be my only complaint. Everything else, the score markers, everything else just looks fantastic. And there's a very, very nice insert to store everything in. I might complain that the box is a little bigger than it needs to be for this game, but that's again, a minor complaint. It's kind of funny, if I'd seen this game a few years ago, I might have said, man, there's so many games about Egypt, but there's not that many now. And the theming of this game fits in pretty nicely. I mean, we got Pharaoh's boat coming down, and he sees monuments next to the river. So I like that, and it doesn't hurt that Daily Magic's over the top, not over the top, but just top-notch production values really help. I mean, look at this box here. It's a shining, bright box, looks good, and the whole idea is very well done. I think the game is fine. I enjoy it. My only caveat might be is that I felt like it feels, and I can't put my finger on it, right? But it feels like there's just one or two too many rules. And I'm still not completely on board with you can get some pretty nice pulls from that bag. Now, they're not the end of the world, right? You get +3, or you can go somewhere no one else can go. But you might pull a little bit better from the bag than someone else. And I'm not really sure what that pulling from the bag adds to the game. Although, I mean, other than randomizing which guys that you have. But that being aside, I like the concept here of the worker placement thing. I like the, putting workers out and doing things. But what's interesting here is as you build these monuments, you are slowly, as the river goes down, as the boat moves down the river, more spaces open up. But then you're filling them in with monuments. So there's this dynamic, this shifting dynamic as you go down the river as to what things are changing and where you can put stuff. I even like the idea that trading is something you can do in this game, but only so many times. And so I might want to trade. There's all these different things that I can do. 10 different actions, but in reality it's not that many. 10 sounds like a lot, like 10 different things to do. In reality, you're just trying to figure out, how do I get the resources to build these monuments? And like I said, there's this whole play a god card, but you can only play one that no one else has played this turn and stuff. Again, some of that feels, it just has the slightest creakings around the outside. Like, could this have been streamlined a little more? It feels like it might have been. But all that aside, the idea of choosing your actions to get the resources you need, using those resources to build a monument, and then picking the right spot to put that monument. That's some very basic stuff, but you have a lot of decisions in there. Yeah, you should probably buy another worker. Why not? Getting these extra workers gives you more options. You should probably start a caravan. Should you join one? I don't know. I can get a lot of resources, but I got to give one to that slacker who started one before me. And that, combined with that dynamic placement of the different monuments, there's not a lot of scoring in this game. right? There's scoring from the monuments, some cards, and then bonuses at the end of the game. There's not a lot, so everything counts. And the game kind of turns into a race of sorts. That's what it is. It's the first one to build as many monuments as you can. If I get cut out from building one of my big monuments and you don't, you're probably going to beat me. So overall, while I don't think this game is like, what? Best, great new thing. In fact, I wonder if this game will still be talked about in a couple years. But there's a couple things. First, top-notch production. Secondly, it has something different where the worker placement kind of things are also where you're gathering and is where you're building. That's some neat things. You're building where you gather. And so with that and some cards, and I know there's a little expansion where you can add more things, I think the game is going to maybe mold, and maybe this one will take off more. But it's a solid middle of the road game in this regard that I thought was very enjoyable, and the excellent look of it pushes it over the top for me. Dice Tower Judgment approved.